Okie dokie. So today, this video I think is one of the most important videos that I'll ever post, and I want to get this one out nice and early because I think it's going to give you the best insight into my mind and how I understand things, and therefore how I educate people and how I explain things to them. So I think one of the biggest problems that we have in this community, right, this operational Australians kind of world, is that we don't understand our needs, we don't understand our brain. We've got fried central nervous systems, we've got emotions that are unmet and ignored and smothered, and we've got this high-level thinking, this logical part of us that thinks that it can override the other two. And I'm fucking telling you right now that that's not the case. It cannot be done. So you can read all the stuff about philosophy and stoicism and be as logical as you'd like, but whether you like it or not, whether you're a tier 1 operator or a fucking quadriplegic burn victim in a wheelchair, you have these three brains and all three needs have to be met no matter what. So the way I like to explain it, and there's a heap of different ways I've heard it explained, right? And we all know about the new brain and the old brain. And that's all very complicated to me, you know, the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the, autonomic, all that type of stuff, right? I don't understand that, and I'm not very good at explaining it, even though I've read it 1,000 times. And I've heard a few different ways to explain it. You know, there's that monkey brain. A mate of mine, Sean, explains it like a Malinois, like a working dog. You've got to satisfy its needs. Another way I saw it explained was that the old brain is in the inside of your palm, and the new brain goes over the top, right? And once your defences are down, that new part of your brain opens up, and you're now vulnerable to that old brain. The way I like to explain it to myself, and I always find that the best way for me to understand it is to make up my own version. It's that your three brains are like the monkey, they're like a child, and they're like a philosopher. And the philosopher is like the new brain. It's like the outside of the brain. It's that sort of logical, high-level thinking, you know, philosophical kind of brain. You've got your emotions, which is the child. And then you've got your central nervous system. That's that old brain. That's the monkey. Now, I want you to imagine that inside your head, this philosopher is in a classroom and he's trying to teach this child and this monkey about this high-level existential philosophy. The monkey just wants to fight and to fuck and to feed, and it's throwing shit around the classroom and it's screaming and it's trying to punch things, right? That's setting off the child, and the child is scared and upset and it's crying and screaming. And this philosopher is at the front of the class trying to explain to these guys these amazing things that they could take away and improve their lives, but they're not fucking listening. So the two things that you've got to do straight away is you've got to look at this situation, right? The philosopher has to read that room and go, fuck, I'm going to teach these guys a lesson. I need to read the room, and what do I have to do to prepare my students? So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to look at that monkey. That monkey is causing the most disruption in that classroom. It's throwing shit everywhere. It's going, and it just wants to fuck things and smash the windows, and it's scaring the shit out of that child. So you've got to take that monkey, you've got to exercise it, you've got to give it a banana, you've got to let it run around and do some wild shit until it exhausts itself, right? And then it goes, holy fuck, I feel so much better. I don't need to be an absolute nutcase anymore. And that monkey can just sit at the back of the classroom and just chill out and just watch, right? And the child now is still scared and afraid. It's crying, it's upset, it's anxious. Now that you've taken care of that monkey and it's not causing disruption, it's over there in the corner, you can go and take care of that child, right? And that child is that emotional part of you, which you do have, by the way. You got to not placate that child, you got to soothe that child, you got to care for that child, all right? And that's things like understanding it, making sure the child is heard, letting them have an outlet and release those emotions, right? Those really base emotions like the sadness, the pure joy, the happiness, the fear, the anger, the rage. You have to let that child be heard, be soothed, and express those emotions no matter what, right? But it has to do it in a healthy way, because you can't just yell at that child and tell it to shut the fuck up and listen to this mad shit I've got to tell you, because it's not going to listen. So placate that child, soothe that child, and take care of them. Now you, or the philosopher, this new part of the brain, this teacher, can then stand at the front of this classroom, look at this monkey that's been taken care of, that's just laying back there in the classroom like this, going, yeah, go on, tell us about it. The child feels taken care of and supported, and it's sitting right up the front and it's going like, man, I feel heaps better. Like, tell me about that amazing thing. And that philosopher at the front of the classroom can now go, all right, that's a far more conducive environment to teach about existential thinking and philosophy and how the world works and coming up with creativity and new ideas and vulnerability and what everything means and metaphors. So if there's any other way that you can think of your brain that would explain that better, go for it. But for me, it works that way the best, right? You've got to take care of the needs of that monkey. You've got to soothe and care for that child. And then that philosopher can then actually teach that class. And those two are now receptive and can take on the most important lessons that you can teach them.